Hi guys, it's me, Karen. I just wanted to sort of do an update. I don't have much of a video. I've been really crazy this week. Um, but I did want to let you guys know that I am trying so hard to do better on my videos. It's just something I'm not good at. It's only been a little over a year, and those of you who've watched me from the beginning know I spent many, many, many years in the shop and on jobs where I was entirely alone when I was creating, and maybe I might have had a crew or a helper. Oh, but definitely in the shop, I was alone. Sometimes my husband, before he was disabled, would help me with some projects after he had retired. So, and now at 66, I am having to learn how to tell people and show people. I don't think telling it is the hard part, because over the years I got many, many questions about how do you make this, how do you make that, and I think I did a great job of. I mean, many people said I did a great job of teaching them, showing them. I'd go in and decorate, put up Christmas trees and Christmas decorations for people, and get paid and organize and all kinds of things, as well as interior decorating. So I don't think the explaining part, I'm not really used to it. So sometimes I go quiet and I have to cut it out because you hear the dogs in the background. Occasionally, I go to mute the TV and it does not mute. And when I'm down here in the rec room area crafting, because I have craft area down here as well, because it gets way too warm upstairs to be up there. I don't want to cool the whole level to the point of being comfortable just for a couple hours in the shop. So, and the warmest part of the day is also the best lighting up there. So, yes. So, anyway, when I'm down here, the TV is in the same room. And I leave my TVs on 24/7, guys, because it calms my dogs when I'm busy or not in the room. Sometimes I have to pen them away from me because I'm doing DIYs, and lately it's been painting. So there's usually a trail from the paint store to my house, and everywhere that I have painted, it just is everywhere. I am not good at painting. I'm much better at other things. Y'all see me spray paint. That can be done outside, not so messy. And sometimes I have weather issues with that because we can be very humid here. So, but anyway, sometimes I mute the TV, and I do live on a main four lane road here. So there's the TV's also on to stop them, not only to calm them when I'm busy, but to always there's music or something on in the background because it's very noisy out there. My house is very close to the main drag, and you often will feel vibration and everything, as well as any, loud sirens, banging of big trucks, and, hitting bumps and what have you, beeping horns, you name it. So it does also keep my dogs kind of from barking, and kind of keeps my sanity when I'm trying to create. I've always been a music person or a TV in the background person. But sometimes when I mute the TV, it doesn't take because it's kind of up and I must aim too low. And because I'm used to having something on in the background all the time, even at night, I sleep to music or something, an audio book, philosophy, who knows, whatever. A lot of spiritual stuff, angel music, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, I did want you guys to know that I am trying really hard to do better. And my videos have done better, subscribers, all of that. It's been just a little over a year now. And, but I also wanted to let you guys know who have joined me since the very beginning and have not watched some of my initial videos is in '06, my husband became completely disabled. So at that point, it took me a year and a half to close out my books. I didn't close them out till '08. But I did stop decorating and really doing very, very, very little crafting. I did a lot more of stuff around the house. I made the bathroom bigger. I did redid the kitchen, kind of all these things. Had some help from my cousin, a help from a friend. But I did also want you guys to know that not only did I spend 12 years taking care of my husband, so all that technology, really, I had no time for. That I was still a little bit involved in with the computer, QuickBooks, certain things, while I was still in business. And even though I kept the business name and tax number and all that, because I knew at some point he was not going to make it, and I would try to go back into it in some form or fashion. So, but since he has passed away, I have worked 5 days a week, and now I'm working full time and some nights, and I've had a lot after he passed away in August of 2018. I've had a lot to do around this house that had been let go for so many years. And my first year after my husband passed, I was not able to get his Social Security. I was 59. And I worked 4 jobs. I worked full-time and part-time, 7 days a week. Two jobs, 7 days a week. 1 8-hour Monday through Friday, and a part-time Monday through Friday. And then I had a weekend full 16 hours, 8 hours a day, and a part-time on the weekends. There were nights, depending on my schedules, where I only had 6 hours to sleep. So when I did that for a year, I was 59. I was not able to get his Social Security till I was 60. And I was not debt-free. So his insurance covered the mortgage, but, there were other expenses incurred and monies that I owed for his health care and stuff during that 12 years. So that first year was very difficult. And then began the disaster, which is trying to put my house back together after 12 years of more or less being in a hospital. And a lot of the work that I did on the bathroom and the kitchen, and to make things easier for Nick around here to get around, were not even completed because I was so crazy busy caring for him that it was, okay, this functions. But it's not attractive or my taste or anything like that. So once I no longer was working full, multiple jobs, let's put it that way, because it was way beyond full time. So, and the part-time hours varied. Let's just say that. So, then I went down to a almost full-time job, about 30 hours a week. And that was after I was debt-free. But I still had tenants here because I became debt-free January of 2020. And I still had tenants here when the pandemic hit. So even though I was debt free, I kind of used the money from my tenants to continue to get what I could done while I still had tenants, because obviously they're using rooms that I need to work on, right? and put back together and organize and whatever. Right? Make my own. So that went on until 2022, really 2023, because 2022, the tenants, well, one tenant did move out during the pandemic in 2021. No, I'm sorry, the end of 2020, he moved out, and I was unemployed, all of which is fine. And I used all that extra unemployment money and the money from the tenant that was still here to kind of get, redo that room at least, because the other tenant was in my master, which really, really didn't really need a whole lot of work, because I got to say, all those years of renting it out, it fared very well. But it's a big, big, big room. So it needed a lot to make it the way I wanted it again, to be my master. So I did some of that while I was laid off during the pandemic. And then when the tenant left in 2022, I had a military friend of mine who had split up from his wife and knew that I once rented rooms. He worked with me and asked me if I still had a room. Meaning he knew me well enough to know that I was going room by room by room as tenants left to redo, and that I had no intention of redoing my house and having tenants destroy it. So, but anyway, I did still have a room. So I did allow him, and he was here for about 6 months in 2023. So, quite frankly, I did the first room when the first tenant left. That is the room that y'all see as my craft and sewing room. Okay. Then I did the master bedroom, which the last tenant, that's the room he was using, in 2022. And I had an injury in the fall of 2022. So really, it was more like 2023. I started purchasing stuff for upstairs at the master. And I had an injury and was pretty much out of physically doing things and being on ladders and all that for really pretty much till right around Christmas. So it was really all I could do to just get a tree up and stuff like that. But I did do a lot of making the decisions of what I wanted while I was laid up. Shopping online and, all that. So anyway, then comes the big, big job in 2023, because I believe it was August that Brian left, of just starting to get rid of stuff that I no longer use. Tenants have left that just don't have a purpose for me anymore. There's a lot of stuff here, and putting that all back together and getting rid of stuff. Okay, so that's really only been 2 years, guys. And I do work, usually off in the summer. I do all of my own stuff around my house, DIYing, all of my own yard work, planting, flowers, decorating, taking care of my dogs. They don't go to groomers, all that. I'm very simple, very uncomplicated. But anyway, I don't want anybody to feel bad for me. If you feel bad, subscribe to the channel, share, comment. I get comments about my videos being difficult to see, difficult to understand. I'm just not good with it, guys. A lot of these 10, 12, maybe 16, sometimes I get 20 minutes, but they're hours of videoing. And I cut so much out because you hear noise in the background, my head's in the way, I drop things, my hands don't work, and I don't, it can be painful. I don't want people to be watching that. So anyway, but I did want you guys to know I'm doing my level best. And this year is the last of my big decorating, putting the house back together projects. Still have some things to go through. My shed outside, my basement are disastrous. And I have hauled off and to the dump, to Goodwill, sold, yard sales, so much stuff. It's not even funny. And there's still a lot here. So, but anyway, last year I was laid off in the fall. Went back to work in the spring, then was off in the summer, which is usual. And now I'm back to work again. But I don't know if I mentioned, I do all my own yard work. There's only a handful of things I won't do, like structural things. I just got a notice from my insurance company. Well, and I wrecked my car. My cousin's working on that. So I have him doing that. It was not covered because they scammed this old lady and dropped the collision on my car, unbeknownst to me. My last car was 17 and a half years old when I sold it, and it still had collision. So, anyway, my fault, but nonetheless, there's people out there that do try to, scam you. I don't think I'm telling anybody anything they don't know. And I just got a notice from my insurance company that years ago in the 80s, the gypsy moths killed all the mimosa trees. All right. I bought my house in 87. So, apparently the gypsy moth, the mimosa trees had already been killed, so they were non-existent. So now they have come back and they're growing over my roof line, and they had requested that they be taken down. So I had John, my handyman, come take a look at it. Well, when he started pulling some of the branches away, the roof is messed up. And there's been significant damage over on this side. There's no windows on this side. This used to be a garage. And it ends right at the property line, like a foot. So I'm never there. And these branches have caused a problem in the corner, in the roof, and structurally. So that's got to be repaired. These are the kind of things I won't do. I won't do electrical, I won't do plumbing, and I will not do structural repairs because I don't want to start a fire, I don't want to cause a flood, and I don't want my house falling down. So, y'all have heard a lot about my double doors that were taking on water for many years. That's structural. I tried to put some sealant and, I duct tape, whatever, to keep the leakage down, but it still leaked. And, it wasn't repaired properly till 2023. So, anyway, but I did want you guys to know that I am doing my absolute level best to improve. So, please like, subscribe, and share. Comment down below. The comments do help. My channel is growing. I will see you on my next video.